Hey everyone, it's Jeannie here today. I am so glad to be joined by one half of the beloved Grammy Award winning duo for King and Country, Luke Smallbone in the house.
Thank
They
you.
have a new album. It's their fourth studio album. What are we waiting for? So, Luke, I have to start here. What are we waiting for?
Well, first of all, thanks for taking the time to chat with me. Always a
Of course.
pleasure. You know, one of the reasons why we named the album "What Are We Waiting For" is because I think that question is different. The answer is different for every single person. You know, what the things that I may be waiting for, and the things that you may be waiting for, are different, and that's why I think it's important to ask. I think that over the last couple of years, we have very, very quickly realized that it's been a strange time, right?
Yes.
And a lot of the things that I think the pandemic has brought up are things like, man, I've got dormant dreams that have been laying in my heart and my mind,
Mm.
and life is fragile. Why aren't I chasing them? I think that's one thing that people are asking. I think another thing that people are asking themselves is, I've held bitterness and resentment to whoever it might be. Why am I
Yeah.
holding on to that? You know, when life is as fragile as seemingly as it's been illustrated by the last couple of years, these are questions that we all need to be asking ourselves. And
Mhm.
I think that hopefully we don't just ask the question, that we actually answer it. And and we action it. And so that's the kind of the thought process behind the name.
I love it. So your single Broken Halos, I just saw the video for that. You guys always have an incredible way of just cinematically appealing to your audience as well. But Broken Halos, what it does is it just kind of levels all of us. In this past season, we've seen a lot of stuff. We've seen people be self-righteous, or we've seen people be too watered down. And there's all types of criticism that's out there. But Broken Halos, really, you just kind of level everyone and you let everyone know that, hey, we're all here together. We all have broken halos and we're all working it out. Can you kind of talk what was the inspiration behind that song?
Well, I think that most of what it has to do with is, you know, we look at the last couple of years, I don't know, it became very clear that, okay, if you're on this side of the street, I'm going to be on this side of the street, and there's just no middle ground for anything. And man, I remember seeing posts on social media of people saying, well, if you don't do this, and then you're this, and then that, you know, we've known each other for 15 years. I'm no longer your friend anymore. I was like, what are we doing? Are we in elementary school here? But what you
Mhm.
realize is the issues became so intense that people felt like I gotta have a prerequisite of if you agree with this, then we can be friends. But if you don't agree with this, then there's just no way that we can make this make sense. And I think that that's heartbreaking to me. That and look, everybody's got reasons for, you know, saying the things that they say, but at the end of the day, we say um, hurtful things when we've been hurt ourselves. And I think the sooner that we can realize that we've all made mistakes, and we're, you know, even though we may project on Instagram that we're one way, the photos that we're not capturing may indicate something different. And you know what? That should lead us to a place of compassion. It should lead us hopefully to a
Absolutely.
place of empathy. And so to me, that song is as much of a challenge to others as it is to us. You know,
Right.
if somebody doesn't look like you, if somebody doesn't act like you, if somebody doesn't think like you, that's not a reason for you to find reasons to disagree. In some cases, it's like, man, why can't we find some commonalities that don't have to be that we're all in agreement? But when I look in somebody else's eyes and I see pain in their eyes, I know what that pain feels like because I've been hurt and so have you. Everybody has been.
Mhm.
Hopefully that can give us enough of a reason to go, you know what? I got compassion for you. Even if I'm going to take it on the chin, even if I'm going to, you know, walk the other way silently, you know, I think in some cases, I think that's what Jesus would do, and I think that that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to live out what that looks like, and I hope it is that Broken Halos illustrates a little bit about that story, about that challenge.
Yeah, I hate to ask this. It's an annoying question, but I have to ask because I know some people will be thinking, has For King and Country become a social issues type of band, or are they changing their direction? You know, you guys talk about unity, you talk about relating, you talk about coming together. And in the temperature that we are in, you know, with all these social issues and all these things going on, can you kind of talk to that?
Well, social issues are essentially personal issues just multiplied. So if you're not talking about some social issues, then in some cases you're actually not talking about personal issues. At the end of the day,
Right.
unity or relate is a personal struggle. If you multiply it by the thousands, it becomes a social issue, right?
Mm,
The thing
yeah.
that we have to understand as Christians is when you look at social issues, it's because of brokenness. It's because of issues, right? But those are issues that are inherently just singular. And so when I talk about unity, I need to be unified with people that I
Mm,
disagree with. And it doesn't necessarily mean you don't call spade a spade on certain issues. I'm not saying that. But I am saying there are always places to be able to find some commonality, some common ground. And relate, man, relate is about the fact that at the end of the day, if you take a toy or a child loses a toy that is very, very, or a lovey that is very, very near and dear to their heart, you're going to see them break down. You're going to see them cry, and there's going to be that moment of, I just so miss it. And well, you have to have the conversation. It's never coming back. And then as a parent, you go, I'll just buy you another one. And then they go, no, it was my special. And the thing is at the end of the day, when that little child is hurt, I know what it feels like once again to look in the mirror and see hurt in my own eye. So though it may be easy for me to say, just get over it already,
mm,
that doesn't help solve any problems. But for me to look at that child and go, I'm so sorry that you lost that lovey. I'm so sorry that you lost that toy. And you know what? Even though I can get you the exact same toy, that toy had your fingerprints on it. That toy became your toy. And I'm brokenhearted for you. At that point, that relationship, though you haven't actually solved the problem, can actually it has a way forward. And I hope that's what some of these, maybe as they say, social issues that we're talking about. I hope that's the point we're trying to illustrate. That just because something happened doesn't mean you have to solve all the problems or you're going to fix everything, but the acknowledgement of X or Y, that's a place that can lead to healing.
beautifully said. So my favorite song on the album is Love Me Like I Am. Love Me Like I Am. I'm a wife. And, you know, I listen to it and you know, it's convicting. I'm like, yes, I have to remember to love like the person is, you know, love any type of relationship that you're in. I should be loved the way I am. And, you know, you've been married, your brother Joel is married, you have beautiful children, and you and Courtney have really stuck it out with each other throughout the years. Can you speak to that? So many people are just throwing in the towel. You know, I'm a pastor's wife, and we see just people not willing to fight it out anymore. You know, fight for their love and really embrace the imperfections of their spouse or whatever relationship, whether it's a family or friendship or whatever. The song can apply to all relationships. But can you kind of speak to that specifically, as a husband who, you know, been in a marriage for so long, and you guys really just are able to get to that place where you love each other like you
Well,
are?
I think that we have a little bit of an epidemic in the Western world of an infatuation with the of new love, but not sustained love. And my hope
Mm,
is that actually from the church that we become more infatuated with a sustained love. Because here's the thing, how many relationships do you know that if I remember pretty early on we got married and I had all these kind of new couples that were dating and their explanation for health was we've never had an argument. And I'd be like, never had an argument. I mean, how do you actually have love if you can't
right.
disagree? How do you actually, because here's the thing, the valleys make the ascension to the mountaintop so much more powerful, so much more beautiful, because you know what it looks like to be able to look down and look up at a mountain and go, I'm not there. But when you actually are ascending that mountain, you you get to appreciate, man, I remember being in that valley. I've often said that one of the saddest things about Hollywood couples is they don't get the appreciation from coming down the other side of the struggle, or overcoming that, getting over to the other side of that struggle, because that's where your marriage actually deepens. That's where your love actually strengthens. If you've never been battle tested, and your marriage has never been battle tested, then you actually don't know what you have. But when you can actually look and say, one of the things I said to my wife when we've gone through, ever since I started music, life got complicated. And when we walked through certain things, I used to say to her, I was like, honey, we lived out our marriage vows. We've actually done some of the very things that I promised that I would do for you, and you've done the very thing that you promised you would do for me. Well, what does that do? That just infiltrates faith in a marriage, strength in a marriage, trust in a marriage. So to me, if you're going through struggles in a marriage or a friendship, uh, that doesn't mean that you're actually in danger. You're in danger when you don't care. That's when your marriage is struggling.
Hmm. I love it. Thank you so much for that. So, an incredible song on the album, Unsung Heroes. I know you've dedicated that to your parents, and it's just beautiful that you pay honor and homage to them the way you do. I know you also have a movie coming out dedicated to just their journey from migrating to America. So, Luke, can you share with us just why you felt, you wanted to really honor them with that song, and then what's to come in the movie? What can we expect?
Yeah, well, Unsung Heroes is I've said 75% about our mother and 25% about our father. She's the one who did all the invisible work, and the invisible work is actually the work that matters to a soul, that matters to a heart. And we wrote this song because she's here with us now. She can hear it, she can absorb it. I mean, my mom's not even that old, but she's not planning on dying anytime soon. But I think that we wanted to write this song because of the reason that because they are here, to let them know that we love them, to let them know that we noticed all that work that we've seen. Man, they taught me how to love Jesus. You know, they taught me right from wrong. They taught me patience. They taught me kindness. Doesn't mean I do it all the time, but they taught me those things. Those are invaluable lessons for the rest of your life. The things that you're teaching your 6, 7, 8 year old manifest when you're in your 20s. They manifest in your 30s. They matter and they're important. And so for our mother, it was just a way to say you're our unsung hero. In a lot of life, a lot of the things that we actually count as important, you did it, and you're our unsung hero. So we sing for you. And so yeah, we're working on a film called Unsung Hero. It's just about really my parents' journey from migrating from Australia, which is a feat in and of itself, and hoping to film this fall and hopefully come out sometime next year. But it's a remarkable story that I think some people have asked, well, why, if it's a remarkable story, write a book or whatever, why do you need to do a movie about it? Because I think that when you tell a story that is rooted in truth, um, it makes you look at your own story and go, well, why couldn't I have that adventure? Everybody can have that adventure. We should have those adventures. Um, the life of following Jesus shouldn't be plain. It should be adventurous. And so that's the hope, is we tell this story so people go, what type of adventure am I going to go on? And that's really, that question can only be answered by the individual themselves.
Yeah. Together has had massive success. We're going to wrap it up here, but can you just kind of talk to why do you think it was so well received? And if there's anything else that you'd like to add about what are we waiting for or what's to come?
Well, together we actually were up in Canada. This song was written originally for Burn the Ships, actually, and we just never finished it. I mean, we never got around, and there were some problems with it. We didn't have a bridge; it was too slow, and we were having a hard time solving. Songs at times can be puzzles, and if you've forgotten the piece, your puzzle's never going to be complete. And so we had to go find the piece, and so it took us a bit. And we were actually up in Canada, and I turned to Joel. We were playing the song live, probably 5 BPM slower than what it is now. And I said, "Man, I think that this is the song for now. We knew that the border was closing. It was the last show, and we basically said, well, let's go home, and we'll work on this song. And we got obviously Kirk Franklin involved and Tori Kelly. Kirk kind of wrote a lot of that bridge and kind of orchestrated that, which was beautiful. And ironically enough, we had some people come to us and say, "Oh, we love this song, but why can't you change the lyric? If we fall, we don't like if we fall because that insinuates failure." And I remember just looking at Joel and it's like, man, but that's truth. That's just, man, we're gonna fall. But if we fall, we will fall together. And when we rise, we will rise together. And I think that song connected because that's what we've just walked through. You know,
Mm.
man, I've seen good friends lose, a spouse. I've seen good friends lose a child. Um, Mourn with those who mourn, right? That's what falling looks like together to me. And rising together means, celebrating the other people's success, you know? And so I think that, together has been a little bit of an illustration of what we've walked through in the last 2 years.
Mm. Well, Luke, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. I appreciate all that you guys are doing. Um, I think that cinema is definitely the way to reach this generation and the generations to come. So keep going with that as well. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I think you've done a remarkable job. We're gonna hit the road at the end of this month and the beginning of April, and I hope that these songs become the soundtrack to people's lives because it's funny, you write these songs and they're personal and they mean something to you, but at the end of the day, they become special when they become something to you.
Yeah.
Um, that's the hope with music. Music has a way of pricking the souls of people, the hearts of people, and hopefully this is a part of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, God bless you. Take care.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the time. Always a good
Of
interview.
course. Anytime.